I proceeded to ask her why she didn't have any children. She explained to me and she told me, in her words, I wanted a good life. My next question was, did you have the good life? What will constitute a good life? To you, are you living a good life? And if so, what in your opinion is a good life? Of course, as individuals, we all do have different mindsets about what is a good life. To some people, a good life is having a large bank account. To others, a good life is having enough money to spend, houses and properties, businesses. To others, a good life is having women, marrying maybe 100 women. To others, having a good life is having a family and raising kids and just being happy. To others, people just have different beliefs as to what it's a good life. Welcome to Issues by Elsie. I asked a lady if she had any children. She said no. I proceeded to ask her why she didn't have any children. She explained to me and she told me, in her words, I wanted a good life. My next question was, did you have the good life? She wouldn't answer me for some time. I said, no, I need you to answer me. You said you didn't have children or you didn't want children because you wanted a good life. Looking at you right now, did you have the good life? She bent her head down, wouldn't really answer me. And she later on lifted up the head and stared at me and said, oh, she didn't have time. She didn't want anything that was going to stand in her way. She just really wanted a good life. She didn't have time to deal with anything about babies or all that. As I listened to her, the truth moment in me, as I would always call it, it just kicked in. So I asked her, I said, okay, so you didn't want children because you wanted a good life. I said, that's fantastic for you. I said, my mother, in wanting a good life, felt that she should have me. And so my mother went ahead and had me. And today, I am taking care of you who wanted a good life and didn't want children. I am caring for you, and I also care for my mother. At least her situation, it's not as bad as yours. You are here, you have nobody to call you, to talk to you, and I come here and I have to care for you. So I'm asking, when you look at your life, did you really have the good life? Maybe at the time, and maybe now. Would you tell me in all confidence that you had the good life? She kept staring at me. Mind you, I had it to a point where I needed to tell this lady my mind, or at least say what was on my mind. The reason I did ask her about the children, because I was done with her kicking me. When I say kicking me, I mean kicking. She will use her legs and literally just kick me. If she's not kicking me, she's pulling on my clothes. So mean things that she was doing or she would do that my own mother who bore me had never kicked me. I don't even remember my dad kicking me. Yes, I was whipped as a kid, but you kick but dogs, right? I grew up knowing that the kind of things you kick but dogs around, a dog that is coming out, or you kick a goat, or you kick, it's just really demeaning using your leg to kick somebody. You can whip, but kicking, it's really a different thing. So I was done with her using her feet, kicking me. And so that's why I wanted to know from her if she had a child, because my next question would have been, have you ever kicked your child, your daughter or son? But she definitely answered well when she told me she wanted a good life. That is why she didn't want any children, and so she didn't have any. And she definitely, according to her, or probably, she had a good life until now. Probably the life is not good again because she's at a position where she needs help and she cannot really get the help. And when I come there in the name of a job, then she's throwing all that frustration on me, kicking me around. But she's sane, she has her mind intact, she's just mean and a mean person. And I needed to tell her this truth. So I told her, I said, we all believe what is a good life. We decide to, amongst us or within us, what we think it's a good life. Sometimes it actually turns out to be a good life and it works. And sometimes it probably will not work, or it will work for some time, like in your case. You lived the good life. You didn't have anybody crying and disturbing you. You didn't change any diapers. You didn't have anything to deal with that, except that now you don't have anybody to call and check on you. You are sitting here, you are lonely, you have nothing, and this is all about you. So it's resonating with you that the good life you thought you were building for yourself is definitely not a good life. I said, but guess what? Whether you had a good life, you didn't have a good life, you are about to have a good life, one thing is clear. It shouldn't change how you treat people. Yes, it shouldn't change how you treat and relate with people that come around, especially people that come around to help you when you cannot help yourself. I told her, I said, leave the job aspect aside and let's talk humanity to humanity. It doesn't matter your frustration. I'm not the reason maybe you didn't have a good life. But I want to believe the decisions you made, you definitely had the good life. Unless that now, the life is no longer good. And that's not even my business. My business is whether you had a good life, you didn't have a good life, you are about to have a good life, one thing is clear. How you treat people shouldn't change at what point of your life you are. Whether it's good, it's bad, it's ugly, or you need to treat humanity with respect. You don't have to be lifting up your legs and kicking another person's child. You don't have, I said, you cannot be kicking me. I'm not your child. I'm simply here to help me. You never bore a child because you never saw the importance of having one. I'm not blaming you for that. But you wouldn't lift up your legs and kick me repeatedly because my mother bore me with the reason that for a good life for herself, because she knows that when she comes of age and of time, I will be there to help her. As I spoke to the lady, she wouldn't say anything again. She just bent her head. And from that day onwards, her attitude towards me changed. She would come to me if she wanted anything. And we kept that respect and everything. Until I left that job, I never had an issue again with her. And people were even surprised how I related with her, because she had issues with almost everybody who went there. But I had to take that moment of truth, and I told her, and I said, it doesn't matter whether you had a good life, you didn't have a good life, that's nobody's business. That was a decision you made. What is a good life is defined by you. You defined a good life by not having children. No problem. We all define it. Some people defined it by having children, who eventually all turned even armed robbers. It's all choice. But whatever it is, whether you, at whatever point, whether you choose to have the good life when you are young, you choose to have the good life as an adult, or the good life will come into your old age, it shouldn't change how you treat humanity. Humanity has to be treated with respect. How you treat people is very, very important. And so that I don't go being negative and saying other things that I'm not supposed to say. And as I talked to her, I think it dawned on her, and her attitude towards me changed. We must be very careful what we define as having a good life. Yes, we must be very careful. Because some of the things that we think, especially when we are young, we feel like it will make us happy, or it's making us happy. That's not what will actually make us happy, maybe when we come of age or we get old. We must be very careful. But one thing is clear. Whatever that it is, whether we are wanting the bank account to be full and it is not yet full, maybe we are wanting that big house, maybe we are wanting that marriage, whatever it is, we should treat humanity and live and be happy while we are waiting or working towards getting those things that will make us or have that good life. And guess what? You cannot really have a good life without knowing your creator, where you come from. Because there are people who do not have these things that I just enumerated, because in our today's world, we feel that that is what makes us have a good life. There are people who don't have that bank account. There are people who don't have the marriage. There are people who don't have the children. There are people who don't have the house. But if you meet them, they are so happy and contented with life that it just tells you that all these things we think that make us have a good life or make us happy, it's not really it. So what will make us, or what will give us a good life? What is it? I put it to you. It's about knowing your creator. If you know who created you, how you came about into this world, if you have a relationship with the God that created you, you will be a happy and fulfilled person. It doesn't matter whether you have a car, you don't have a car, you have a home, you will be content. And when you are content and happy and you are living that good life, the way you treat, it will show the way you treat people. People can tell. Whether you have the account, you don't have the account, you have the money, you would be happy the way you will relate with people. Because it's about something inward, being happy. A good life, because remember all these things even that we probably will acquire in the name of, oh, I want a good life, so I want it. When you are dead, they don't really bury people. Yeah, I've seen outrageous burials where they bury people in cars and stuff like that. But what is that? That's it. But how you relate and treat people will live for eternity, right? It will live for eternity. It's not about whether you choose to have babies, you don't choose to have babies. Because if you're telling me you didn't have babies because you wanted a good life, fine and good. Yeah, you had the good life without having babies. Okay, but treat other people's babies, fine. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Don't plan on not having on having a good life by not having babies, and then when it is time, when you need help and other people's babies or children are taken care of, you are maltreating them. No. Treat them nice too, because it is a choice that you made, right? And you're living by it. So whatever it is that you define as a good life, know that you can't really have a good life outside of not knowing your Creator. I put that to you. Thanks for watching.
I invite you to keep regular dates with me on my new series of Issues by Elsie on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
And thanks for joining me on this journey